she is the yes and that's what I find so amazing, that we could take on anything when we call on her to support us and walk with us, and everyone, all of our guides. And there's this, as you mentioned, and there's that, and where can we meet? Because it's both and in the paradox of our life. Yeah, we're being so called to step beyond that, and Brigid provides the bridge, because she brings everyone. Yeah, she brings everyone together, because she is such an ancient goddess of the lands, and she's a revered and honoured saint. And she's got wells, sacred wells dedicated to her all around Ireland and beyond. And so we drink her holy waters to cleanse ourselves, and we ignite her sacred flame in all of that.
Welcome to the Sacred Planet podcast. I am your host, Jocelyn Starfeather. We are living at the end of a massive 26,000 year cycle. This is a cycle that can be defined not astrologically, but astronomically by the movement of the North Star in the sky. Every 26,000 years, we come back to the original North Star. The times that we are living in now are when one of these 26,000 year cycles is ending and a new one is beginning. And so this is why this time when we are alive right now has been foretold in the ancient prophecies of many indigenous and ancient peoples all around the world, from almost every continent. This is why the world feels so chaotic, so uncertain, and so unstable right now, because we are truly shifting from one age, one massive 26,000 year age, into a new one. This is also why we are seeing so many changes in our own lives, so many changes in the world. It's because the systems and structures, the patterns and beliefs that we have been carrying for an extremely long time are collapsing. They are breaking down. And this is terrifying and also very exciting, because those of us who are alive at this time, we get to choose what we will build next. We get to choose who we want to become in this new era. So it's really important to know during these times that these are actually not only ending times. This is not meant to be an apocalypse. This is actually meant to be the closing of a door to the old ways of being and the opening of a door to the new ways, to the radical new world that we are here to build together. We are here at this time, at this momentous time, to choose what will come next. And so let us dream into a world that our children and grandchildren and the next 7 generations will be delighted to inherit from us. And let's begin creating it one by one from within ourselves. That is where all change must begin, is from within every individual, and then it is rippled out to the world in miraculous and beautiful ways. Here in the Sacred Planet podcast, we will be talking about spiritual awakening. We will be talking about the massive changes that are happening in our world, and we will be talking most importantly about how you can support yourself, how you can feel most healed and healthy and whole and inspired and uplifted and ready to build this new world together, ready to choose who you wish to become next as all of the old falls away and we are left with a blank slate to create anything that we wish, anything that we dream into the future. Welcome to the Sacred Planet podcast. I can't wait to share the incredible speakers and topics that we'll be sharing here on the podcast, and I hope that it will be a tremendous inspiration to you in your own life. I am your host of the podcast. My name is Jocelyn Starfeather. I am the founder of Sacred Planet. Sacred Planet is a global community of people who are awakening to their true power and magic within and co-creating together and uplifting and inspiring one another as we build this radical new world together. I can't wait to share more with you. I'll see you soon in our next podcast episode. Much love. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sacred Planet podcast. I am Jocelyn Starfeather, and I am your host for this podcast. And I am just thrilled and overjoyed to be here today with Eimear Stassin. Welcome, Eimear.
Hello, I'm delighted to be here.
So delighted to have you here. Thank you so much for being a part of this podcast. So let me share a little bit more about Eimear's work so you can all get to know her. Eimear is a trainer and a soul-based coach, writer, and storyteller. In Irish mythology, Eimear is said to possess the 6 gifts of womanhood. Eimear sets out to expand and rewrite these ancient stories to bring her fullness and wholeness back in. After graduating in business and economics from University College Dublin, she enjoyed a 20-year career in corporate financial services. In 2004, she took an internal career change into corporate training, a move which planted the seeds for her future entrepreneurial calling. At the beginning of 2017, Eimear finally listened to the tug of her soul and the whispers of the witches to seek nourishment and expansion out with corporate and dove headfirst into entrepreneurship. She helps witches, wise ones, and healers to rise up and return to their power through her Mentorship for Witches online program, global online summits, and creative writing series. Eimear is from Dublin, Ireland, and lives in central Scotland with her husband, 3 children, and adorable border collie puppy named Riley. And Eimear, I just so deeply respect and honor your work. You just so beautifully weave in the magic and the storytellings that just bring in the ancient traditions into everything that you do. It's really, really amazing and so inspiring. So thank you for all that you do in the world.
Thank you so much, Jocelyn.
Yes, absolutely. And I am so excited about your topic today, which is Brigid's Flame, Resurrecting the Divine Spark Within. So I wondered if, before we dive in with Brigid, if you could just tell us a little bit more about your story, and particularly what has really led you to these topics around the witches. And you have such a deep connection with the witches and with the original ancient history of these lands of Ireland and Scotland.
Oh, yes, yes. So as you read in my bio, I'm a child of the corporate world. And when I chose to leave in 2017, and I do know now it was the whispers of the witches, because the last place I worked, it actually in Edinburgh in Scotland, it actually looked out to Edinburgh Castle, one of the training rooms that I used to train in. And Edinburgh has been a central stage to my witch awakening, which happened in August of 2020 on the Lions Gate. So as you were asking the question, I was just seeing the spiral, because it really has been this spiral path of expansion and also deepening into my awakening and ultimately calling me home to source, to truth. And what the witch awakening, how that manifested or happened for me, I describe it as this ignition of a flame of remembrance. So it was really bringing me in to feel and remember this flame that had not quite gone out, but was dormant within me. And it ignited this flame through anger of what's happened with the witches, with the feminine, with what's been deleted and distorted. And in doing that, it's also allowed my creativity to burst forth in the most fluid and organic way, as well as calling me home to my native Indigenous Irish roots. So it's like a web of connectedness of all of this happening in beautiful synchronicity and in the most creative way, which is just brilliant because it really plays to the storyteller in me as well, which I gather is how the witches knew to get my attention as a collective.
Yes, amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
Well, could you share next then about your connection with Brigid and her flame?
Yeah. So Brigid, my connection with Brigid came before my witch awakening. So that was really unfolding as I was beginning to take a deeper interest in the Celtic medicine wheel, the Irish medicine wheel. And as I was doing that, I was kind of building and learning how to create my own version of the wheel and connecting in with Brigid, who resides over the time of Imbolc, which we're in right now at the time of this interview. And Imbolc means in the belly of. So it's about what is birthing forth after winter solstice as we're coming out of the darkness into the light. And Brigid began speaking to, well, whispering to me. I began to feel that connection. It was a fire connection. Anytime I started talking about her, and I can feel my fingertips tingling now actually as I speak about her, because anytime I spoke about her, it was awakening this fire, this passion within me, and like this deep love and reverence that I am still remembering of who she is. And it's interesting because Brigid, her place is Kildare, which is Kildara in Irish and means the church of the oak. So she's very connected to the oak tree, but it's also where my sister lives. She lives in the county of Kildare in Dublin. Amazing. And her birthday is Imbolc. So it's like,
wow.
Yeah.
So amazing.
Yeah. So she's always been here. And through learning more about her, going to her sacred sites, I'm connecting even more deeply than ever with her. So she came before my witch awakening in August, and now I know Brigid as a witch and sorcerer. So that's who I see her as now, or who she tells me she is.
Yeah. Yes. Wow, that's so beautiful. And yes, as we're recording this, we're in this time of, I know where I am here in the US, the very beginnings of the tree blossoms are coming out and the crocuses are appearing. And what a magical time that we have, chosen to honor the Brigid and the spirit of that flame, that spark reigniting.
Yes. Yeah, and she has held this flame. It's some of the transmissions that she shared with me, is that she has been holding this flame for eons for us, this divine flame, this fire elemental. And I see her as just when I close my eyes and visualize her, she's this steady, present, powerful figure, just cradling the flame. It's here. Probably is created through her palms, like whoop, and she is always here. She has been waiting for this exact time and moment for all of us to awaken to what she wants to birth through each one of us uniquely. So she's so connected to that flame and that divine spark within each one of us, which is what I love.
Yes, this is beautiful. And I'm just feeling that flame on so many levels. It's the life force that rises in the spring. It's the Kundalini life force within us, right? It's that awakening force that is awakening humanity at this time. It's the purpose that rises within us and how we can serve and how we can help. It's like really, I'm just feeling it really strongly. Wow. So can you tell us more about how this awakens the divine flame within all of us?
Yeah, well, Brigid is known as an ancient deity in Ireland and beyond. She's so well known around the world. And then also in the 5th century Ireland, there's a Saint Brigid. So I know her as the priestess, nun, sorcerer, and saint. And the connection to the flame, because she's also connected to water and her wells as well, but she had a fire temple in Kildare, and it was tended to by her and her priestesses. And that was one of my questions of what is so important about tending to this flame so that it doesn't go out. And I feel what she wants us all to know is that, first of all, we've to connect in, and I've got my hand on my belly and my womb space, is to remember and connect with this flame within each one of us, to connect with what really sparks us or ignites that flame, that passion, that interest within each one of us, and to follow that thread. And she also calls for us to nourish that flame within us, as if it was like a divine child for each one of us. And
Yes.
also there's this connection to the Magdalene flame. I'd read an article a few weeks ago, and when Brigid's flame came through very strongly one morning to me, I realized that actually not only is Brigid this ancient deity, this witch, this sorcerer, she is also a Magdalene sister as well, and is calling for this energy to continue to rise and be remembered within us all. Because as we know, the Magdalenes were, well, rounded up and treated, in my mind, treated very similarly to the witches, and ultimately had to flee or would be wiped out. So it's connecting to that divine, powerful wisdom that was so powerful. We had to go underground or into caves or bury the sacred texts or go along with the patriarchal programming. So Brigid is here to hold this space for each one of us, and to know or to seek out safe spaces to connect in with that. And for me personally, it comes out through writing, through storytelling, through poetry. Like, it really feels that's the way that I express that, or through songs. And for others, it may be through dance and movement, music, art. It's very much connecting to the creative arts. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, definitely. And it's, there's just so many ways that this spark shows up within us and wants to burn brighter within us. And creativity and dance and movement, all these different ways that we can kindle that flame within and let it grow. It's so interesting. This is also reminding me of the goddess in Greek and Roman mythology, which is she's called Hestia in the Greek. She's called Vesta in the Roman. But this was actually, there were Vestal virgins, there were priestesses, dedicated to this goddess, and they were the keepers of the flame, and their role was to keep the flame at the center of each little village, each little community in the ancient times, lit. And regardless of wars or hail or floods or snow or whatever, they had to keep this flame lit, because within each household, it was critical to have the fire burning to warm the house, to cook the food, to keep everyone in the family alive, right? And if their fire in the house went out, they had to be able to come here and get this fire and bring it to keep their family alive and healthy. And I just have chills every time I talk about this. Vesta is one of the asteroids that we look at in astrology too. So she's really important, representing our life force and actually our sacred sexuality. And it's all about that fire, right? That fire of life, that spark of light within us. And I'm just wondering what would love to know all the correlations and interconnections between Brigid and then these, Vesta and Hestia. It's just so fascinating how everything is so interwoven.
I feel they all worked together.
Mm-hmm.
They all worked together either on this earth or connecting cosmically or through the earth, because that's somewhere where Brigid has taken me that surprised me and didn't. That ultimately I see her, and I was sharing before we started recording, I've been sinking deeper into Irish mythology and allowing that to express through me. And where this has taken me is to Egypt as well, which is very new, old, ancient and new for me. And in my meditations, I see Brigid in the temple of Dendera with Hathor, with Isis, with Mother Mary, as the Magdalens tending to this sacred flame. And it's incredible. And the connection to the resurrection rites. Now I'm still this is still unfurling, like it's very alive, and I'm still weaving the threads together personally for me, but for those listening, it may ignite other sparks within each one of you. I find it really fascinating that we're all joining forces together to unravel the wisdom and the gnosis that we need now to step into our new earth.
Yeah. Yes. And all these mysteries that we're remembering. It's so powerful. I'll be in, as of the time we're recording this, I'll be in Dendera about a week and a half from now, and I'm going to really bring Brigid in my heart as I enter that temple.
Yes. And it'll be so interesting what comes through for you, for this wisdom of what they want to tell each one of us. And the Hathors, it's very sacred.
That temple is very much about the energy of birthing on so many levels, macro and micro. And even the new age that's birthing through us right now is written on the ceilings of Dendera.
Yes.
And the prophecies about this time that we hear from all the different ancient cultures, but the Egyptian version of it is written on that ceiling. And there's a beautiful, it's called a mamisi, a birthing house or a birthing temple right outside of Dendera that is still standing. It is there with incredible images of birth. So yes, wow, I just have full body chills with these connections. So beautiful.
It's amazing. It takes me to then that resurrection of the divine spark, which you'll know, and some of your listeners may know, that was the final word my father said before he died 29 years ago, was resurrection. And I continue to go on this journey and deepen into this journey with him as my guide, and connecting with the resurrection rites, and also the living aspect of resurrection and ascending into higher states of consciousness. And then you speak of the birthing chamber right outside. Yeah, it's like all these clues are here for us now to decode.
Yes, they really are. Yes, so many things I want to ask you at this moment. I'm curious about the resurrection theme, and where do you find that in the Irish and Scottish traditions? Is there anything in particular that comes to mind for you around resurrection? I mean, obviously Brigid being a part of that, but is there anything else, or any sense in particular?
Well, when you asked the question, I was immediately taken to Newgrange, or Bruna Boine, which is the place of Bowen, the cow goddess.
Right. Yeah.
So connected to Hathor.
Right.
As well. And Bowen is the milk mother connected to the sacred cow, but also the cosmos as well, and the Milky Way.
Mm-hmm.
And as the earthen goddess, her sacred site is womb shaped. So it is like a pregnant belly from the outside. And then when you go inside, it's a central chamber. And through my meditations that I've done and guided people on, actually through Newgrange, it is the portal. It is the portal because the outer shape of the door is that pie portal, which I've actually learned through studying Egyptian mysteries with you, that shape I realized is also in Newgrange. of Pi as the portal. So not only is Newgrange this amazing stone, ancient sacred site, it is the portal. And it's through Newgrange and working with Bowen, as well as Brigid, that I've also been brought through tunnels to Egypt. So it's like it all comes back there. And in Newgrange in particular, it's connected with the winter solstice. So the time of deepest darkness in the womb, where we go within into the darkness. And then over the time of winter solstice, the sun shines in through this gap in the door called the roof box and makes his way to the central chamber. So shining the light in to the darkness and birthing new life. So for me, it is a birthing chamber, as well as a chamber of death, of what wants to be released, and then rebirthing new life, but also this portal into wherever you are taken in that moment. So that's resurrection, isn't it? Life, death, rebirth, and then emerging renewed into this new way of being. We're never the same person when we emerge from these sacred chambers as we are when we went in.
Yes. Wow. I have no doubt there were tunnels between the Celtic lands and Egypt. I have no doubt in my mind. I've seen that as well.
Wow.
Patience. And you know what's really fascinating? Can you say the name of the cow goddess again that you mentioned?
Bowen.
Bowen. Okay.
Yeah.
So in Egypt, there's this far more ancient cow goddess, and her name was Bat, like B-A-T, Bat. And this was the one who was the Milky Way. So in Egyptian mythology, a little later on, that was Nut. And she is the Milky Way, and she stretches across the sky. But this Bat eventually split into three goddesses, okay, which included Nut and Isis and Hathor. They were originally one, and her name was Bat. Right? It's just...
That's so beautiful, because Newgrange, the stone, it's adorned with so many spirals and triple spirals.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
That's the Trinity.
The Trinity. Yes, the three. Wow. Yeah. Wow.
There's so many seeds and threads to unravel. And I feel this is it's been laid out for each one of us. How it's like the ingredients of how to resurrect that divine spark and step into higher, fall back, sink into higher states of consciousness, as we're being called to raise our vibrations.
Yeah. Yes, and this is the rebirth, the resurrection that's happening really through every single one of us at this time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So powerful. And Brigid holds the flame for all of this to occur within each one of us.
So circling back to Brigid, can you tell us a little more about her, and how is she the bridge walker and the reconciler?
Yes. So Brigid, the word bridge, she is connected to the bridge. So I view her as guiding, walking with us from where we are now to where we want to go to. So that's like in a linear way, but also from where we are now, she is that connection with the other world as well, and the cosmos, the earth, the other world, the fairies, the gnomes, like all the support that is available to us. But also in holding the flame, she is the triple goddess. So she's the goddess of smithcraft, of poetry, and of healing. And I feel her energies, because for the first time in Ireland this year in 2023, there's an extra public holiday, and it's dedicated to Brigid. So that's the 6th on a Monday. It was Monday, the 6th of February. So
how amazing.
Her energies are so strong now because she's helping us reconcile all these parts within us that are out of balance. and also externally in our world. She holds the flame for that reconciliation to happen. And of course, it's so needed more than ever. And, you know, in Ireland, it's still a divided country. It's still a wounded land. Like, she really is calling out for the release and the healing of the lands. And that can happen through each one of us. When we go to the land, go to the sacred sites in person or through our journeys. And that's where I feel she's calling on this reconciliation to happen.
So beautiful.
Brigid, in a nutshell.
Wow. Yes. And we have so much polarity and division just everywhere in the world right now. So this kind of energy is needed more than ever. And it's very alchemical, this idea of reconciliation, right? Because it's taking, whenever we take the two opposites and we find that balanced place at the center, that's where the transformation can occur.
Yes. Yeah, and I can feel the heat as I'm speaking about her, and that because she is the yes and that's what I find so amazing, that we could take on anything when we call on her to support us and walk with us, and everyone, all of our guides. And you know, there's this, as you mentioned, and there's that, and where can we meet? Because it's both and in the paradox of our life. Yeah, we're being so called to step beyond that, and Brigid provides the bridge, because she brings everyone. Yeah, she brings everyone together, because she is such an ancient goddess of the lands, and she's a revered and honored saint, and she's got wells, sacred wells dedicated to her all around Ireland and beyond. And so we drink her holy waters to cleanse ourselves, and we ignite her sacred flame in all of that. Yeah.
Amazing. Yes. Wow. Well, are there any messages that Brigid would like to communicate to all of us through you today?
Well, I think one message is to drink water when we talk about her, because
okay. can do that.
It tends to, I'm full of fire anyway, but
right. This is the balancing and reconciling.
Yeah, it's like the resonance of the water. I wondered if you'd like, because the little book of Brigid is my gift to you, and these are sacred transmissions that came through me so quickly, because that's the fire. It's like whoosh, here it comes. And I could share some words from that.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah. And the connection, because there's one of I call them sacred prayers, really, and there's one that makes that connection to the Magdalene sisters, which I think is really important to reclaim that part of us as well.
Yes, that would be really wonderful. And I'll just mention too, this is your free gift, as you said. So for the full version of this little book of Brigid, if you just look right below the video, you'll see the link to get that free gift and experience all of it. And thank you, Eimear, for giving us a little taste of it here.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. So this is one of the transmissions, and it's called Brigid Speaks, Sacred Transmission. There she stands calmly, quietly exuding these ancient powers, holding the flame, a flame she has held for eons, since time began. The ancient flame of remembrance, of Tara and Tiamat, of Lemuria, Atlantis, and pure ancient Egypt, of these times of peace when all was in balanced harmony. Her flame does not move or flicker. It's a steady flame of knowing that this time was preordained, written in the scriptures, her scriptures, hidden in plain sight, irrespective of her lore. And she holds the flame of deep reverence and knowing, of patience, reconciliation, and letting go, of forgiveness, yet not foregoing all that has played out upon these lands, She is the bridge between reconciling our past and stepping into our future from this place of deep gnosis that she reminds you is in you too. For Brigid, she holds the flame, the Magdalene flame. She is a Magdalene sister, bride of Christ, sister of Mary, mother and wife, born out of the temple of Isis.
Wow. Thank you. Oh, let's just let that sink in for a few moments here. Just invite everybody listening to place your hands on your heart and close your eyes and take a deep breath in and really receive this transmission. So beautiful. And yeah, it's speaking of the lineages coming together there. Yeah.
Yes, and once we read her words, like even when I go back and read what has flowed through, I go, oh yes, of course. Like once we see, we can't unsee. So it makes perfect sense that we are all so connected. And this energy is so needed now to bring us back into balance. And there's so much sustenance there and nourishment when we work with these different deities and their places around the world. And ultimately, there it is again. It all comes back to Isis and Egypt and these places, which I find fascinating.
So amazing. Yeah. Yeah. All these traditions probably linking back to one amazing source, probably even before Egypt, really. Yeah. But a lot of it may have come through there. And so vast to consider.
Yes, it really is. And each one of us is bringing through this wisdom in our unique way. It's needed through all of us. And I'm reminded of Brigid as the smith crafter. It's like she wants us to forge the world anew, forge ourselves anew through the fire and the flame. And I just see like the hammer and the anvil, you know, like the blacksmith would make the horseshoes, like forging this out of the fire. So what is
the
it?
Sparks flying out of it, right? The sparks of flame flying out. Yeah,
the divine sparks. And it links back because my grandfather was a blacksmith in Cork. And more recently through meditation, he came through and he gifted me his hammer. And my interpretation was that this is your lineage. These are your family tools. So take them and please use them in your human form in this life.
Amazing.
So it comes back again to that resurrection story and connecting with our own lineage and family line as well, both biologically and culturally, because this is where the wisdom and the magic resides.
Yeah, this brings up something that I feel is so important to really recognize, that every single one of us were indigenous and connected to the land somewhere on earth, if we go far enough back in our lineage, right? And it's just so important to remember that this indigenous wisdom from wherever our ancestors originated is flowing through our veins. It's in our blood, it's in our DNA, and we can reach in and remember that and reclaim it in really powerful ways.
Yes.
And you're such a beautiful living example of this, you know, connecting to that ancient history and wisdom of the place that you are from. And it's a really big invitation to everybody listening to, you know, find out where your ancestors came from and what were the traditions and who were the gods and goddesses of that land, right? So powerful.
Yeah, and it's amazing, isn't it, then where it takes you. You know, here I am settling into Ireland and getting cozy over in Ireland, and then it's like, and you're coming over here to Egypt, and you're going, you're going to the stars, you're going into the earth. It's like it takes you in all different directions. And as you were speaking again, I was remembering the Golden Grail, because this connection through our DNA and our blood is the gold, is the gnosis, and this is the Golden Grail that Brigid's helping us reclaim. The golden rose, the Golden Grail. This is it. These are the mysteries.
So beautiful.
And it's still opening up for me, of what these are.
Yeah. Yes, deeper and deeper layers of that. Well, I have one more question for you today, because you mentioned Tara as part of that reading. So who is 5D Tara, and what more do we need to know about this amazing journey that we're all on at this very momentous time on our planet?
Yes. Oh, I love speaking about Tara. So I only last year learned about Tara, this planet that existed before the Earth, and that was connected to Tiamat. So like they were twin planets, and both were exploded. Now, don't ask me how. It is like a Star Wars episode. I love Star Wars as well, actually. Maybe that's why. Tara was exploded, and the people of Tara, the indigenous people, Tara was a very, very pure, lush, fertile, green, harmonious planet. And when I close my eyes and connect with Tara, I just see trees for miles and miles around, like so lush and pure, and crystalline rivers and waters. And Tara was exploded. The people of Tara, we fragmented. I say we because I feel we were all there and connected to this place. And our souls became fragmented and lost, or stolen, or siphoned, or held captive. And fragments of Tara, the planet, fell and became Earth. I imagine it as falling and becoming Earth to create the Earth that we are in now. And so part of that learning, it created a real emotion within me. And part of that learning was to begin to reclaim the lost souls of Tara. And this is work that many people do, but to reclaim the parts that connect to me and my lost soul fragments and parts. So this is part of what the work that we all need to do, by calling these parts home and reconnecting with the divine spark within each one of us. And ultimately the 5D is the 5-dimensional Tara, which is the new Earth that we are ascending into. Because I see this now as this, it's almost like a recreation of the Tara that was exploded, but it is a place of peace and harmony and balance. Because what I see is that it is possible. It's not a pipe dream. As I say, it's not a poetic pipe dream. It is possible. It's where we've come from. And it's why we're here now, to birth that into reality. And it's already happening. There's times and moments and spaces where we are in that beautiful, harmonious balance, and the trees have seeded again, and we've got crystalline, unpolluted rivers, and we all know that we're working together in unity. So that has become for me like my vision of this new Earth. I call her Tara, and it's not just me calling her Tara. There's others that speak about this too, and other people you'll have your names and metaphors for what we're ascending into. But it felt like a grief for me when I first heard about this planet that I'd never ever heard about before. And then as that grief was flowing, then it sparked action and remembering and reconnection.
Wow, this is incredibly beautiful. Thank you for bringing this into the conversation. There's a vision that I had in a sweat lodge years ago, I think 2017, that was extremely strong, that was showing me the earth in her original state of pristine beauty. And the message was, and like you said, all the rivers were flowing crystal clear, all the mountaintops were filled with trees, all of the species were restored, all of the humans, every color of human living in indigenous harmony together and with the earth. It was just incredibly beautiful, incredibly moving. And the message was, this is already here. It's only a shift of perception that will allow all of humanity to be inhabiting this original pristine earth once again. So I just want to share that because it's so aligned with what you're saying. And another message that I've received since then is, and we can all do this every day, at least for a few minutes, just hold that vision of the earth in her completely pristine, unharmed state of being, right? Completely in her original beauty. I just hold that vision. And every time we do that, we're making that more and more real. We're bringing that more into our own perception. And our perception is what creates the reality that we see around us. So as we do that collectively, it's incredibly powerful and magical and can really create new realities for us.
That's so beautiful. And you know, the timing of your vision in 2017, that's the vision that I was having of how I described Tara. It was back in 2017. And the language, I only realized I connected the language only recently, that this is what we're calling in. That's yes. amazing timing wise.
That's really beautiful. Wow. Well, we can carry all of this forward now in beautiful ways. Would you like to say just a few more words about your free gifts before we close?
Yes, so you will receive, this is Sacred Transmissions from Brigid, and I call it the Little Book of Brigid. It's small and very mighty. It's about 3,000 words of transmissions and poetry from Brigid through me, and her words are just so beautiful and divine. As you've heard, I've read some of them, but there's also little prayers in there and invocations and ways that you can work with her for the rest of your life, or as long as you wish to. So yeah, sign up for it. It's a really beautiful gift. I say that because it's a gift from Brigid to you.
To all of us, yes. Thank you so much for offering this free gift. And everybody, you can just scroll down a little bit below the video here and see the link to claim that free gift. Wow, Eimear, thank you for all that you have shared today. This has been, I'm carrying all of this with me in my heart as I go forward through my day. This has been really powerful, really moving and inspiring. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Jocelyn. And yeah, it's just that alchemical conversations that you're creating in this space here is so beautiful and sacred. And I know the magic will continue to unfold.
It will. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
You too.
I hope you've enjoyed this wonderful episode of the Sacred Planet podcast. Be sure to click like and subscribe to our channel so that you will receive future updates. You'll know when we go live and when we are publishing the new episodes. And also be sure to put a note in the comments. What did this episode mean to you? What did this speaker and this topic inspire and awaken in you? And how do you want to share that with the world in new ways going forward? I would love to hear in the comments. And while you're here, go ahead and click on another podcast episode and open your mind, open your heart to more beautiful wisdom from the podcast. Much love, everybody.